Stay tuned for a description of how to set up your home gym from the very basics to expanding to other options to give you more exercise variety right in the small space you may have right there at home.
Hi, this is Deborah Atkinson, the author of You Still Got It Girl and the host of Flipping 50, the TV show where you can go and send me your best question at flipping50tv.com. But I'm answering a question of one of my subscribers, and it was, we should do a video on how to set up a home gym. So here it is. This is basically my home gym. And I'm a huge believer of using heavy weights. So don't give up your gym membership just yet. So if you're looking for bone density and you're looking for weight loss, heavy weights, but you need to be able to do them safely, may mean you need access to machines. So, and there's something about being in parallel play. When you go in to work out, other people are doing the exact same thing. You tend to work a little harder and you may stay a little longer. But I also believe it's really important to have an option that you can do conveniently so that you can do that at home. And if you can do something at home, you can almost be guaranteed you can walk into any hotel gym. However sparse it may be, the word gym is sometimes used very liberally on the hotel site, but you feel comfortable knowing, okay, I can put together a workout that's effective for consistency with even these small things. So here's what I've got. Here's the bare bones in the order I recommend that you have them. 3 pairs of weights. And for you, they need to be kind of light, medium, and heavy weight. I don't know what that is for you. I'll tell you what I have here. I have 3 pounds for things like shoulder work. When I want to be, say, doing a reverse fly, and I want to work on the very small rear deltoid in my upper back. It's a weak muscle. Why? Because we live out here and it gets overly stretched. So you need some light weights to do things like that, or to work on areas where you may have a pre-existing injury and maybe you're doing something carried over from physical rehab. So shoulder work that comes out front to the side or is a rear shoulder exercise, those are perfect size and a little bit heavier than a soup can, although a soup can is a good place to start, okay? Then I've got a medium pair and mine happen to be 5. Now for some people, as you gain some strength, you may want to do your shoulder work using that medium set, or you also might be able to do some combination sets. I give you some in my Muscles in Minutes guide for biceps and triceps. So you can really develop some tone and hone in on that muscle definition with that size of a weight. And then your heavy weight, what that is for upper body really is for when you're doing a chest press lying on your back, or you're doing a bent over row in this position, it needs to be heavy enough that you fatigue in 15 or less repetitions. Now you also have to realize you're going to progress. 15 repetitions is as many as you want to do when you first start. As you want to progress, especially if you want to lose weight and you want to affect the bone density, we want to work you down progressively to a point where you can do 10 or fewer repetitions. So if you can do 15 with that now, that is not going to be the weight that you need later, but you can grow into weight. So maybe you have these to get you started and you decide, I need a heavier set. So you can start with few and then work your way up. And there are a couple other secrets you can do to maximize the weight you have without having to gain more. And things like slowing down, changing the tempo, or adding power can all make a lighter weight a little bit more effective. So more about that later. But for now, 3 sets of dumbbells. What feels to you light, you could do it up to 20 times. What feels to you medium, you could do it about 15, maybe a few more. And then what feels heavy and you could only do 10 times. That would be ideal, okay, to get started. Bare bones. You might want a mat if you're on a hardwood floor, or if you're on carpet. That may or may not be necessary. Another really functional tool is a big resistor ball. So the one I have is actually 65 centimeters. Now, if you look at charts, it will tell you that based on my height, I would be recommended to get a 55 centimeter. But if I got that at the store, what would happen is I would be really low. And when I sit down on it, what I want for you is that your hip is higher than your knee. And you can see mine is here. You can do just about anything with this, and it'll be a little bit more comfortable for you if it's a little bit bigger as opposed to a little bit smaller. So if you're going to err one way or the other, go with the 65 or the slightly bigger, and your options are going to be 45, 55, 65, and 75 centimeter. So remember this, I am 5'4", not used to be, I still am, and this is a 65 centimeter. So if you are 5'5", 5'6", kind of in that range, probably want to go with this one. If you're 5'3", 5'2", and 5'1", you may want to go with 55 centimeters. Okay, just to help you. You can find these almost anywhere, but they do blow up differently. So when somebody says it's marked at 65, and that's what this one is, in a different brand, it might not quite be the same. The quality of the outside of the ball varies from one company to the other quite a bit. This happens to be Spry, just so you know. Okay, so what else have I got here? So that's your bare bones. You have a mat or a floor surface that's fairly soft, so you could lie on it, kneel on it, and you'd be fine. You have 3 pairs of weights and you have a ball, you're covered. Okay, that's your start. If you're on a really tight budget or really small space, that might be it. To expand, when you do squats and you do lunges, in order to fatigue, it's going to be very hard if you're just holding weights at your sides. If you can do them with your upper body 10, 15, 20 times, you're not going to fatigue in your lower body to do that. So that's where a gym membership with a leg press or a squat machine where you can do heavy safely comes in handy. But if that's not an option, a kettlebell, a single kettlebell is what I've got right here. So I happen to have 30 pounds. Now, I could probably stand to have 35 or a 40 pound, and that would be even better for me. So you're gonna do something like this with a plie squat, for instance, and you're gonna do some carrying. You could walk down the hall carrying it like this for your core. The goal is not to let this happen, so you know you're working the core muscles over here. There are a lot of things that you can do with it. We could do kettlebell swings, and I'm not gonna demonstrate that right now, if you were looking for more athletic, performance-based strength. But that's a luxury. If you don't have it, you can still do squats and lunges. You may not fatigue in the few repetitions we'd like you to, but you can still do a lot of work and get a lot of toning done. So don't panic about that. Couple fringe benefits, things that I really love in order to have. So if you have a jump rope, okay, you can do a lot of things with that, and you don't have to jump for an extended period of time. You can jump for 30 seconds at a time, and this still has a price tag on it. It was $9. You can afford that, all right, to give you a little extra something. But here's the thing. You don't have to have a jump rope, right, to do a jump rope action. You can fake it, and it still gets your heart rate up. So think about how much would you really use that? I kind of like the idea of actually having one and making myself coordinate jumping over and doing quick feet and a little agility work. But if you don't want to get that extra thing, you don't need it. If you're in a hotel room, pretend you're jumping rope. It'll still get your heart rate up. And if you're somebody who can't jump, you don't want the impact, you just leave that one off of your list. So here's another thing that I have. You also don't need in order to do it. I love boxing to emphasize upper body, give your lower body a break. For a lot of my clients, by the time you're 50, you've had a great life and it's cost you something potentially, or maybe something in your career and what you've done has given you some knee issues. So rather than doing a lot of impact, we're looking for some way that you can not have to always walk or not have to always weight bear to get your cardio in. And boxing is one of those. So yes, you are on your feet, but I can be doing this kind of a punching motion. I don't have to jump. Now I can do quick feet if I wanted to, and I should have shoes on, but it's Saturday afternoon as I'm making this. The weights come from the gloves. Gloves for boxing are 12 or 16 ounces. Doesn't sound like a lot, right? 16 is just a pound. Generally, that's for a bigger person, and a lot of times it's kind of female and male, but it doesn't have to go that way. But 12 ounces, if you think about, you've never done this for very long, and if I had you do a class of this for 30 minutes, you would be sore simply from holding those arms up and punching with them with nothing in your hands. So adding the boxing gloves with 12 pounds is going to make a big difference. So you might try seeing, do I like boxing? Is that a great alternative for me? And do it without the gloves first to make sure you love it, and then get the gloves later, and that's your progression, kind of like moving from that medium to the heavy weight. So that's another home option. That you've got a jump rope, you've got boxing, you can always dance around your living room. If you don't have the luxury of a treadmill or an elliptical or an exercise bike at your home or your studio or apartment, there are a lot of things you can do right in one space in order to get your heart rate elevated. So don't worry about that. It doesn't hold you back. You can do knees in place for 30 seconds to a minute, and maybe you string together 20 moves like that, or you think of 10, and then you do it again for a 20-minute cardio workout, or do intervals of something that's a little bit more higher intensity with arms and legs, and then a little recovery in between, and you repeat. You can do interval training or cardio with almost nothing and standing in about the space of a yoga mat. So don't let anything stop you. The more space, the better, but doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a better workout. The last thing I like for recovery, and if you're working on my cellulite solutions from the Muscles in Minutes, which you can get at flipping50tv.com just by sending me your question. Everybody who sends a question gets it. This is a part of cellulite solutions. So it's a foam roller, and it's actually shorter. It looks like it's amputated. Most are about 36 inches long, and this is probably 12, so it's about a third of that, and it's about 6 inches in diameter. You can sit on it, roll on it. This one fits really well into a suitcase, which is why I chose it. And you can roll through different parts of your body. Once you've done cardio, strength training, you roll and you stretch. And I tell you specifically how to do that in Muscles in Minutes so that you can reduce cellulite if you do it correctly and you do it consistently for about 8 weeks. That, all of it, gives you a great workout, a lot of variety, so that you don't have to do the same thing every day, even though you might be using that home gym every day that you use it. Hope that's helpful. If you have a question about your home gym, what else, what brand, happy to share. Just drop your question in the description.
It really takes very little to give you an option so that exercise is more convenient and right in your own living room.